All right, so Avarie, thank you so much for joining us today for our episode. I don't know what number this is of Curated Conversations. It's great to have you here, and we've got Jasmine here, who I know our members have met previously. But just to kind of give a brief overview, a Cliff Notes version of you, Avarie, and then I'll let you introduce yourself officially. But the reason that we called Avarie in today for a discussion is that she is a pivotal person in the community from a graphic design perspective. And Avarie, you and I did a little bit of work previously before I actually started at Masterworks. And I've always been so impressed with you as a professional and, you know, with your design and creativity skills. You have a huge following on Instagram. So Jasmine and I thought it'd be great to bring you in on Zoom. We can't be together physically, but to bring you in and to have a conversation with you today. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. So I guess I'll just introduce myself. I'm Avarie Graham. I'm a graphic designer. I work for a creative agency here called Strata-G, and you know, we're full service from websites, marketing, advertising, PR, that sort of thing. But I also do freelance work on the side as well. And yeah, I mean, I started getting into graphic design. Well, let me go back a bit. When I was younger, my mom actually submersed me a lot in the arts. So from a very young age, she was putting me in art camps, you know, art classes. That was kind of like my after school sort of world, was art camps and art classes. From then I started to volunteer. So when I went to high school, I went to Work Academy, started volunteering a lot. I've done work with Masterworks, volunteer work, doing a lot of their educational programs and that sort of thing. And then for the BNG as well, I was their front desk sort of volunteer, welcoming people into the museum, giving tours, that sort of thing. So yeah, art's always been a part of my world. Going into university, sorry, am I able to?
Yeah, please, yeah, move all over, that's good.
Yeah, so going into university, well, thinking about university, I really didn't know. I know I wanted to do something within the arts. I was really good at, well, I was passionate about painting, fine art, that sort of thing, but thinking about long-term in a career, wondering whether that would be something that would be sustainable or not back then, was, you know, had me thinking what I wanted to do. And I started to look online and see what routes there were for that. And graphic arts was one of them. And so I applied for different universities. Got into Kingston University in London, and I did their graphics arts program or certificate program for a year, and that combined with photography on the side. So that was my sort of introduction into graphic arts. I was just thrown into the deep end. I really didn't understand it. Being at Work Academy, there wasn't a graphic arts program. I think there is now, Jasmine. I don't know if you are aware.
Right? I think they help encourage it. I don't know if there's a class yet, but it's definitely a lot broader than our conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think there's computer arts there now or something like that. But yeah, I had never experienced that. So yeah, I was definitely thrown into the deep end, and not really having gone to school abroad was tough on me as well. In hindsight, I wish I could have done a gap year, or, you know, kind of dabbled in a few different artistic things for a while and traveled and things like that. But you know what, looking back, it might have been best for me to be thrown in the deep end. I was exposed to the arts culture in London, and, you know, meeting new different artists, photographers, people that dabbled in film, that sort of thing. And yeah, it was really eye-opening for me. After that, I went on to do a graphic arts program undergraduate program at Ontario College of Art and Design. And yeah, that was fun. I'm so happy that I was able to go to Toronto. I think that was more of a fit for me rather than London. Yeah, made a lot of friends. I was just really glad to be able to go to a school where I was able to hone in on my style, and they encouraged that and learn new things. And yeah.
That's great. And I think one of the things that, when I was younger, I was, very interested in visual culture and the visual world. And I remember going to university, I did art and in the International Baccalaureate program at BHS. But when I went to university, I never really thought that art was like a viable career path for me. I kind of was looking at other avenues. And so, yeah, I guess, as somebody that maybe didn't have those options in front of her, and when I went to university and I was looking at coming back, I actually, before I started in HR, I was actually thinking of going into marketing, because I thought that's a visual field. Everybody does business in Bermuda, and I should look into marketing. And then 2010, it was like not the right time. Everybody was like, marketing has been like shifted to other locations when, within the international business field, which is different now. But I guess my question is, would you have any advice for students that are in high school or in university who are coming back to Bermuda and thinking about, visual culture or the arts or design? Like, how would you, what would you advise them to do in terms of understanding what opportunities are in Bermuda or even globally? Because I think that's a hard thing for people who know that they really enjoy the arts. Like, where does that lead them?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's great that you guys are doing these curated conversations, because back when I was at Work Academy, we would have a few universities fly down and do introductions to what there was available out there in Canada and the UK, those popular spots for university students and those schools. I think Dalhousie was one that came down, St. Mary's, Bristol, people from those sort of universities came down to speak to us, and there was never anyone within the arts that came down. It was hard to hear that, and maybe wondering, it had me wondering if I should change my thoughts and get into business instead. And you just saying that you were thinking about marketing, I didn't even know graphic design and marketing went hand in hand back then. I had no idea. I was oblivious. So not being able to know what was out there and the opportunities I had was kind of disappointing. But having had that experience and now being a graphic artist working in Bermuda full time, I would just say, do what you love. If you're into photography, if you're into designing, just really focus on your portfolio, do what you love, build your portfolio up. And even if it means doing projects that are not for a certain company, or for a certain company, but you're just, it's fake. It's like your own, mock-ups of a logo that you think, say Zoom needed a new logo. Just do a mock-up of a branding project, or say you are into photography and you're thinking of a fashion line. Maybe you'll go out and pretend that, you're photographing for that brand or that company, or those sort of things. So personal projects is what I would say, and that will also be beneficial for people looking out. If you're posting those projects on your website or on LinkedIn or on your social media, there's always someone looking and always someone searching. So just make yourself as versed in your skills as possible. Always keep learning, do those personal projects, post about it, even if you're afraid, And yeah, that's what I would say.
That's
but
great.
also if you're looking, I mean, still continue to look. But I think just really, like, I don't know, making your craft to the best it could be at that time. Just keep working on your skills.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah, go ahead, Jasmine. Sorry.
I had a very similar experience. I ended up studying fine arts at university, but when it was time to apply, they were like, oh, where's your portfolio and all of those things. And I had never been really versed in what's a comprehensive portfolio or what's important to me. I could do IB requirements or GCSE requirements, but there wasn't that personalization on my own part of like, well, what are the projects or the mediums or the avenues, the styles that I'm really interested in, so that they can get an idea of me as an artist, not just me as an artist meeting themes or meeting requirements set out by somebody. So I think that's such good advice, just to really think about what you are passionate about and what you're really interested in your skill set, and kind of hone in on that.
And I was told by the end of my 4 years at university that you should be well on your way to developing a aesthetic or like a style, a graphic style. So all these personal projects, all the, you know, practicing your arts and things like that are only beneficial for that. You know, a lot of employers who are looking for graphic artists are looking for, you know, your personality in the work. So I think, yeah, the more you do something and the more you're learning, it only just evolves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that that's great advice. And, you know, you shed light on, you know, what students and, you know, whether in high school or university can do, and even building up, you know, your craft. What about finding mentors in the arts community? Is that challenging? Have you found that particularly difficult? I find it, you know, no matter what role I'm in, no matter what age I'm at in my life, I will always want mentors. I will always want people who are, you know, telling me things that, you know, shed light on something I maybe didn't see, or, you know, help me craft my skill or develop in a certain way. And so, you know, I think within the business community, once again, just kind of drawing some parallels here, there are lots of people, say, in reinsurance and insurance, and a lot of people that, you know, you think, oh gosh, I really gravitate towards that person. I'd love for them to be my mentor. Do you find that particularly challenging within, you know, the graphic design or marketing or arts community here, or has that been something that's also easy for you to navigate?
I do. Speaking on personal, like from, you know, my personal experience, I never did have a mentor, but everything that I did on island and abroad that was involved with the arts and my programs and stuff like that, whether it was employment or being off in university, there was always one person that I could talk to for help. You know, in university, there was I had to do a thesis at the end of my last year at university, and you sort of bond with your thesis teacher because this is your graduating project. You know, this is where you show the world, or the people, you know, your parents, your friends, your families, and things like that who are attending the school, and to see your graduate exhibition, your style, your personal style. So that one-on-one with my thesis teacher was really, really helpful for me. But in terms of being here and before going off to university, I did, you know, do in volunteering and doing arts classes and things like that. There was always that one person you can talk to, but I never really had one that stuck by me throughout my journey into graphic arts and where I am now. Sad to say, and I wish I did have that one person. But I think there's always going to be help, whatever you do. I think there's always going to be someone who you can talk to and ask questions and lean on if you need that guidance. Actually, going back, when I was here and applying for jobs in advertising, once I found out that graphic arts and advertising go hand in hand, there was a woman, I don't know if you know Rona Emerson.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was really helpful. Though she couldn't employ me, she kept letting me know that I had a really good, I was onto something. And she was pushing me to keep, not to be discouraged, even though she couldn't hire me and I wasn't getting hired by certain advertising agencies here, that to keep going. So yeah, she was helpful. And you're, there's always your family and things like that. But in terms of just having that one person throughout my career, I didn't really have that, unfortunately. Yeah. But there's a lot of like younger graphic artists who've reached out to me, especially on Instagram, because I'm like really big on Instagram right now. They tend to reach out to me for help and guidance and things like that. So yeah, I'm always happy to, help. And if you need that support system, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I was, sharing with somebody the other day just how impressed I am with your Instagram page. And what role do you think Instagram in particular as a visual platform has had in your career? Because I see so many artists, and one of the things I love about Instagram is that, unlike Facebook and unlike Snapchat and, all these other platforms, it really is a space that artists in particular and graphic designers and craft makers have really been able to push their product or their service forward, and their artistic skill. And I think it's really allowing for, people within the arts to have a blossoming career. It's connected that person directly with a particular audience. So what role has it played for you in terms of building your brand and connecting you to people?
It's actually played a huge role. Actually, one of the biggest projects I would say to date was working with Solange Knowles. I don't know if you guys know of her. She's a singer, songwriter, designer. So she had a, she
like
still
Beyonce's sister.
Yes, Beyonce's sister.
Okay, making sure. You said it so casually. I was like, yeah.
Solange. So one of the opportunities I got was being able to work for her collective, Saint Heron. And I simply just went on their Instagram and said in the comment field, I wish you were hiring a graphic designer. Like, I would love to work with you guys. And lo and behold, her assistant at the time, Armina, just hit me up in the DMs and was like, actually, are you available? Like, we're looking for someone. And I guess from there, she could see, I was in university at the time, so she could see what I was posting and, my projects throughout the year and things like that. So that was an introduction in itself. Having my work on social media and that sort of thing was really helpful in getting jobs. And still to this day, I get people messaging me. Actually, most people message me on Instagram for work, seeing whether they can hire me on different branding projects and things like that, meeting new designers. There's a fashion designer I'm now working with on a freelance basis who found me through Instagram. So yeah, honestly, just if I can tell you anything, post your work. I know if you might feel a little discouraged, maybe you feel like you're not at the stage where you want to be yet, but practice makes perfect. And I think people actually want to see the progress as well. It's not just always the pretty finished product. It's how did you get there and how did you, develop your style. Instagram has played a huge part in my design career for sure. And I still continue to use it as if it's my portfolio, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I have to say, I love your Instagram. Good follower. But speaking of how you get to the end of your project, one of the questions I had was, what are some of your rituals or some of the things you do to help you when you have a creative block?
Okay, good question, because I was having one earlier today and I stopped everything I was doing. I did a workout and I went for a walk in the trails. I live in Southampton, and so I'm blessed in that, like, it's just so quiet up this way. We have a view of the ocean. So just getting out and exercising for me is really been helpful. But also, I like to look a lot for inspiration online, seeing what the trends are these days, who's new and up and coming in the graphic world, that sort of thing. And so those outlets like Pinterest, Designspiration, Behance, those are really beneficial and helpful if you're, kind of stuck and not knowing which route you want to take in the project. But I would say getting outside is number one, if you can. If you're in a cold spot, then sorry, but
at least for us, we've got it covered.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I find, like, if my brain isn't functioning, I'm like, I gotta get outside and like do something active and like, or hang out with my dog for a second. It just changes. I get so much inspiration from that. So
even like a lot of my work, I would say, is inspired by Bermuda. So they go hand in hand when it comes to, seeing what's out there. If there's like, I'm always taking photos. So that's another thing. Whenever I'm out and about, like if it's, a roof or a palm leaf, I'm really into Bermuda architecture and the textures and patterns of our island. I just think we're so blessed, and inspiration is all around us. So you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And do you have any art in your house? Like, are you interested in collecting art, prints, or photographs? Or
it's honestly all over the place.
Behind you.
Yeah, I can actually show you.
Yeah, please.
Awesome.
I love a tour.
Yeah, so I'm really my boyfriend and I live together. It's our second year of living together, so a lot of the decor is me. He doesn't really have a say,
but as it should be.
Yeah, and we're renting right now, so maybe when we actually buy a house, it'll be a little different. It'll be equal, but I'm really big into like color. Color is my thing. So this is actually a collage I made. I don't know if you can see it.
It reminds me of Matisse, the paper cutouts.
I'm super inspired by Matisse. I actually have the cutouts book of his over there.
Nice.
But, I love big prints, really inspired, like I was saying, by Bermuda and the palms, that sort of thing. This is a photograph I took in St. George's. Recently, you would know this well.
Yes.
And actually, my boyfriend's brother is an illustrator. So I went to OCAD and he went to SCAD. And so he's really amazing at doing these graphic, these detailed illustrations. This one's of the ocean. I told him I want a colorful one next time, but yeah, those are a bunch of the work I have hanging up. And it's just all very colorful, lots of greenery in my house as well, plants. So kind of bringing the island within the house is my vibe. But
I love it. Well, I actually have to say I like the black and white against all the other pops of color. It makes it makes the other bits pop. So, but no, I'm always interested to see what people have, in their house and the way that they like to fill their personal space with art. And because everybody has a different style, as you said. So thanks for showing us that. But Avarie, I think we'll probably wrap up soon. Jasmine, do you have any questions, anything else for Avarie before we finish?
I think a great question maybe to end is, what does creativity mean to you and how do you keep your creativity engaged?
Ooh, good question. Creativity for me means feeling free to be yourself, I guess I would say. That's what it means to me anyway. Just not feeling stifled, being open and being who you are without any limitations. And what was the second part to that question?
How do you keep your creativity engaged?
How do I keep it engaged? Just always practicing my craft. I don't think there's a day that goes by where I'm not designing, which is bad. Well, not bad, but
not bad.
I mean, they say, you know, you should take a break and every now and then, which I do, but every day I love design. It's what I do. It's what I live for. And so when I'm able to do that all the time, I feel just, yeah, free. And I'm always engaged with graphic design because I do it all the time. Yeah, just not being afraid to be yourself and keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're passionate about. Don't listen to what people say if they're, you know, negative or things like that. It really doesn't matter when you're doing what you love.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Well, Avarie, thanks so much. I mean, I have to say, as somebody, you know, who follows you like Jasmine on Instagram, your passion shines through, and it's, you know, it's wonderful to see somebody find a career and excel in it like you do. And thank you for sharing your home with us. Thank you for sharing your background, you know, how you've gotten to where you are today. If people want to follow you on social media, what is your Instagram handle?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is avesbaby, AVESBABY, and my website where you can find all my past work and a little bit about me is Avarie Graham, so AVARIE Graham, GRAHAM.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Avarie.
Thank you, Avarie.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.